Hey friends, here are a few things to keep in mind this week and a couple of practices I'd like for you to try on in conversation with your child this week. Listen, our lives are busy, they're crowded, and sometimes they're uninterruptible. And love often looks like taking care of someone who needs a little help. And who are those people in your life? Who are the people in your life that you are helping? So Jesus is telling the story of the Good Samaritan to a man who's trying to figure out what he has to do to have the kind of life that God promises as the good life. He says, "What must I do to inherit eternal life?" But this isn't really about how long you will live in God's new creation. The man is in the story isn't asking a question about how to go to heaven when he dies. Eternal life is specifically about a certain kind of life, what Jesus refers to as the abundant life. The question that the religious leader is asking is a question about what constitutes a good life, a life that is blessed by God, a life that is lived to the fullest of God's desire for us. And Jesus' response here is brilliant. He says the good life comes to the man who goes out of his way to express love. He gives his time, he crosses cultural barriers, he loves when it is difficult. And so, what are some of the ways that you're doing this as a family? The best way to have the kinds of kids that end up following Jesus is to take them along with you as you follow Jesus, to let them watch you work this stuff out in your own life. So I'd love for you to spend some time this week considering how you might participate in some of this kind of love, the kind of love that interrupts the busyness of our life and makes room for the unexpected moments that call upon us to draw on a love that doesn't actually originate in us, which, by the way, is our theme for next week. This kind of life, this is the best kind of life, at least from Jesus' perspective. So I'd love for you to spend some time this week in the evenings at bedtime helping your child review his or her day. Help your child this week be on the lookout for ways in which he or she can respond to somebody in need. Even just asking questions to bring your child's attention to how other people might be doing. So for example, did you see anyone at school today who was having a hard day? Would be an example of a question. And over time, what we want to demonstrate to our children is that we can choose to help at the invitation of Jesus, but we don't have to help. I think one of the things that we need to be careful of when we start talking about all of the need that exists around us is to recognize that we want to serve and love out of an overflow of God's love in us. Again, we're going to talk more about that next week. But as I ask you to lean into some work this week around the practice of helping someone in need alongside of your child, just know that I'm aware that a lot of our drive to help other people can often be rooted in some codependency. Sometimes we need to help, and our helping of others is actually driven by an unhealthy relationship with ourself. So the way that these imaginative prayers progress over the next few weeks, we're going to do some work around that tension. And I just wanted you to be aware that that's sort of in the mix as I help you think about how you can serve outside of your home. Okay, that's probably enough for this week. Blessings to you. We'll see you on the other side of next week.